Hi, thank you for being here. My name is Eleanor. I appreciate you being here. Today's topic is going to be how do we afford life? Now, it's kind of something that it's been on everyone's minds, right? How do you afford it all? How do people afford stuff? Sometimes when I go to Disney, I'm like, how the hell do people afford all that? Sometimes I go out and I think, how on earth are people affording to eat like that? And oh, this table's a little wobbly. So I always wonder how people do it. And then I look at my own life and I realize that people are just like me. I actually do better than a lot of people in the sense that, I'm very organized with my finances and I can pre plan some adventures and pre plan some dinners and pre plan some things that kind of look like to other people, how on earth can she afford that? So, when I grew up very humble, like in a very poor environment. My dad was like on government assistance, and he did briefly work as a when we first got to Australia as a like a in the factory in the beer factory, and he was one of the beer factory guys on the line down there, and he and so that time was great because we were making some money, and I could remember him buying food and stuff. And then he didn't want to do that because he said he didn't earn a lot of money. And the government was paying him just a little bit less than getting paid to work all day. So he decided not to work. And he was always by trade a electrician, and he'd been in the military in Romania. So he was very smart, he's very equipped, but he just didn't transfer his trade locally to Australia standards. So he had to go back to school and do some stuff. Until that happened, until he got the confidence to do that, we all kind of suffered, you know, literally. Like there was never any food, didn't have any clothes. I never experienced I remember when I was like 18. I was in my own place, and I remember I wanted to treat myself because uh, I went to Target and they had like robes, and I was like, I can't afford that. You know those little dainty silky robes? They're not real silk, of course, but and it was like something like $20 or something in Australia, and I was like, wow, I can afford to buy this. So I bought a robe for the first time, and I was like 18, and I got some pajamas for the first time, and it was like, wow, I can experience pajamas. Normally I would just wear my clothes to bed. So, yeah, there was Paul and there was us. So, the point of that story is I learned from a very young age frugality. My dad was abusively frugal. He was frugal so much that if I bought anything, he'd beat me up. He'd beat me up. I remember one time I bought isopol. I really wanted isopol. It was like 25 cents. And I bought it, and he got so mad at me that I wasted money, and he beat me up. So yeah, I came from a really messed up place. So anyway, but the good thing about my father is he taught me about being frugal in certain situations and strategically to really save, because you have to always live within your means. So that was his motto: always live in your means. So I learned that from a very young age. But I also, it's really strange. Even as an adult, I always thought I couldn't afford anything. I always thought things just were too expensive. I didn't really understand what prices were. I really didn't. Even as a young working adult, I'd finished college and I started working. And then before I finished college, I didn't really understand, hence my pajamas and my robe. I always thought I could not afford things. So I didn't really go and shop and, be my best because I always just felt like I couldn't afford anything. And I couldn't. And then I got married just fresh out of college and to my knight in shining armor who pretty much took care of everything. And so, good on me. And he was a great guy and he was a great father and a great husband and he took care of everything. So I didn't really worry for a few years about anything. So it was nice, but I still didn't really learn how to keep money. I did when I was younger because I left home when I was 15, but I didn't really do it in adulthood with adulthood money, salary money, whatever, because I was a stay-home mom. But then I got divorced and then I started the business. And then I was like, yikes, yikes. So anyway, how do people afford things? Well, you've got to first live in your means. You have to live in your means. And of course, I know it in my own life, but I really came across the way everybody else lived through my friend, who shall remain anonymous. But my friend, she was going for a divorce, and her husband was cheating on her, and she was a really beautiful person. And I was friends with her for about 10 years, give or take. And I really liked her, and I was there for her as much as possible throughout her divorce. And she was trying to consolidate all her life, her bills, her whatever. And I found out she wasn't paying her mortgage because she was expecting the government to pay for it. And she got what she wanted. The government paid like $50,000 of her mortgage. And I thought, wow, that's awesome for her. But not fair for people who work their asses off and actually pay their mortgages. So, but some people need it, but her and her husband both were working, and they were making really good money. And at the time in my family, I was only working a decent income. I was like making a very decent average income, just below 100,000, like 80,000 or something, sometimes less, sometimes way less. And she was making like 90 for the both of them. He was making 90 and she was making 90, around there. And I was like, wow, you guys are rich. How do you have no money? How can you not pay your mortgage? Like, that's crazy to me. And I was paying a couple of mortgages. Like, how do you doing that? It's like crazy. And it's very easy. Like, she could, even when I went through, I go, let's go through all your stuff. I'm going to help you. Because, I mean, everybody kept thinking I was rich, but I wasn't. I was making less than most people. I live in my means. How about that? So I learned that from the Romanian way, I guess, my dad, and because Australians weren't really living in their means, and Americans sure as hell don't live in their means. The wonderful credit card system. So we went through her bills, and I go to her, you need a knockout cable. Oh, no, I need cable. You don't need cable. I don't have cable. Like, I used to have cable. I used to watch Bravo and shake and get anxiety the whole way through it because they were like crazy. They would just bully each other and literally give the audience anxiety, and thought that was a normal thing. It's not normal to bully people, your friends. That's not friendship. So, I stopped watching it, and I saved myself over $100 a month. I don't have time for cable. I really don't. Like, YouTube is my heavenly father. Like, I love YouTube. Everything's on YouTube. You want to learn something? You want to watch something? Disney's on YouTube. Reviews are on YouTube. Anything you want is on YouTube. You can watch farming. I put on farming stuff like chickens and, watch the cows at the farmer's show for my little son. Like, you don't need TV. Anyway, But she's like, no, I got to have it. We got to watch that. Really? No, you don't. Take that out. How many phones do you have? I've got one for me, one for him. I got still paying him. We're not with him anymore. He's got a new girlfriend, so get rid of him and his bill. Duh. And tell your son go on prepaid. Why are you paying like $200? Like $200, $250 for phone bill. I pay $50 a phone bill, and I think that's expensive. Like I own my phone outright. Just buy whatever you can afford. I mean, you can buy phones for $100. Just buy whatever you can afford. You know, and just I go prepaid. Like I don't want some crazy bills coming to me. I used to live like that in Australia. In Australia, people get into serious debt paying on their mobile phones. I'm good. I don't have a house phone. That's one luxury I kind of do miss. Not for people calling you, but just so I can find my phone. you know? And it's only like $5 a month. It was when I was, and I just like, I don't need it. But I sometimes I would get it just to find my phone because I always lost my phone. So then we just went down for her bills. I really want to go to, California for my, do you need to do that? I need to, my friend. I would not go anywhere if I didn't have money. Oh, I could put it in I wouldn't go anywhere if I didn't have money. That's it. If that trip was not paid for before, I would not go anywhere. I don't go on trips on my credit card. And you might say, "Wow, lucky you." No, I didn't go trips forever. I didn't have the money. If you can't afford a trip, don't go on it. Just save up for it. That's it. Save up for it. You know. The other thing is, how much do you spend eating out? You need to eat out. I mean, eating out is so expensive. Like, I pride myself on being okay, and I don't eat out. I love to eat out. I save all my eat outs for Disney. I wait all my eat outs and I go to Disney. And then for people's special occasions. If it's your birthday, let's go out. But eating out just for the sake of eating out. And Ryan, he would just always live on takeout, and I was like, ugh, it's disgusting. Why did you eat McDonald's? It's gross. Like it's disgusting. And it's not cheap. I mean, you spend like $20 for your kid and you to have gross food. It doesn't fill you up, gives you the shits. Yeah, so I don't really, cut out that stuff. The other thing is, when I moved to another house, I moved from a 2,500 square foot to basically 1.3 square foot. And I love it. I love it. I love the small space. I like when I put on the heat, it's hot within 5 minutes. I'm not waiting for an hour till the heat pumps up or the cooler pumps up. My house is new and insulated. I like that. I don't like this whole let's go big and big and big. I'm good. I was paying $400 all plus just on electric. I do not want to spend $400 on electric. What the hell? It's crazy. And I remember when I was looking for tenants, people were like, oh, yeah. I said, this kind of reality, what it costs. And I was hanging my clothes outside. Hang your clothes outside. My daughter goes, ew, that's gross. It's like bird shit. I'm like, no, it's how Australians do. That is such a luxury now. They don't even provide a lot of it in Australia anymore because they want you, everything is like, Australia real estate is so expensive. It's up there with Paris and London, probably more expensive than either of those. It is crazy money expensive. And It's so crazy, really. And I forget what I was saying. But anyway, yeah. So just lower your bills. Lower your bills. Oh yeah, the clothes hanging. I just hang out my clothes outside, and I save about $100 a month doing that. And nothing is more happier. And if it was the same money, I'd still do it because this clothes smell like fresh air. It smells like the mountains in my bed, on my towels, on my clothes. I love it. I love it. Yeah, cut your electric. My gas went from 150 to 300 a month, all the way down to nothing. I don't have a gas bill. Gas is equal to electric nowadays. I don't know what happened. They both went into a meeting and said, if they run away from you, I'm going to take them because they're the same price. Cut your bills. Don't, just go small. Just go small. Cut your bills. Cut your bills where you can. You don't need all of it. You don't. I have a friend. He makes so much money. That guy's like secret rich. He doesn't even think he's rich. He thinks he's not rich. That's how like delusional he is. And he's rich. I mean, rich. And he lives in the most humble little place. He was sharing with me one time. I lived in a space with a bunch of people, and I was sharing with him, and I'm like, dude, you make so much money. Why don't you like, he's going through a custody battle. I go, you need to get your butt in a house. You need to get a house and provide a house for your daughter so you can keep your daughter. And just for your own stability and get wealth. And he bought the smallest little thing at whoop whoop, and he still lives there. Like, dude, you can have 10 of these easily. You know, yeah, just live very frugally. And he would not pay for trash. He's like, I'm taking my trash to work. I'm like, how much do you save? He saved like 120 a month. Good on you. It's like, that's stupid. Why would I pay that? It's stupid. I'm one guy, I don't cook. What am I paying that for? It's true. Don't pay for things you don't need to. Why? Because society tells you you've got to have two lines. Society tells you got to have, even the internet company, they'll say, do you want the best one? Do you want the biggest? I always get the cheapest. Give me the cheapest thing you've got. It works just good. The only exception is I've seen in the cell phones. You get the cheapest, some of them aren't the best reception. But still, you shouldn't pay too far off. $10 more, not freaking 200 more. Yeah, it's crazy. So how do you afford stuff? Take your life way down. You don't need it. You don't need all that stuff. Start off. I remember I told my son, I said, go and look for a place. He wanted to live here at the town center. And they were asking for like $1,500 a month for like not much, or $2,000 a month, not much. But he was sharing with his girlfriend. I was like, it's crazy. Why would you pay? They're like house mortgage prices. They're house mortgage prices. Get a townhouse, buy it, own it, build some wealth, pay that. It's crazy. It's like, why aren't you following me? Why are you going off and live in La La Land? And his dad's like, why don't you teach him? Well, he's got to be a kid first. When he grows up, when he really grows up, not 23, but when he, I guess, really grows up mentally and says, hey, I need to build some wealth, he may come to me. But until then, he's just going to live his fancy life. Because society tells you that's how you got to be. You got to have the names and the fancies. Why? I like names too, like not really expensive names. Sometimes I'll go and I'll treat my son to Psycho Bunny, or I've treated Ryan in the past to Psycho Bunny. I'll go to Macy's sometimes and buy the things that sometimes I like, but beyond that, I don't really go fancy. I don't go fancy. I remember one time when I got divorced, I went to Walmart and I got a jacket, and it looked just like my girlfriend's jacket. You know, one of those puffer jackets? You can't tell the difference. And I'm sure at Macy's is a lot more nicer quality and better cut, blah, blah, blah. But she couldn't tell the difference. She was like, "Ooh, I love your jacket." How dare I? I said, "Thank you. I got it from Walmart for $25." What? She bought hers for like $150 at Macy's. Same jacket. Yeah, I didn't have $150 to spend. I was starting a business, just got divorced. The truth is I still go and I'll buy pieces from Walmart. Why not? I'm not pleasing anybody. Some pieces I do like to treat myself. But only if I have the money. Only if I have the money. I very rarely put things on my credit card unless it's like towards the house, like investments towards the houses. I don't just put, anything on the credit card. Like I do for points, but then I pay them, like everything gets paid straight away. And if I've ever had credit cards not paid like over 2 months, it's honestly because there's something going on in the house that I need to pay off. HVAC went out, blah, blah, blah. But I just don't like to live like that. I don't have any major, I just don't like to live in I don't have anything. The other thing is when you're in debt and you don't have money, you have this constant, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, that you're telling yourself, oh my God, I'm broke. Oh my God, I'm broke. And if a bill comes, oh my God, I'm broke. So you're always telling yourself that you're broke. And, I do believe in the power of the word. So how do you live a better life? Just go way down. Just take your expenses out. You don't need all that. If you're used to buying organic, maybe don't. Maybe go for a while without it. Maybe certain things you like to be organic, like your meats or whatever. But how do you know, honestly? Like, how do you know what's being truthful to you? How do you know? How do you know? When you're paying for something to be classified, how do you really know? So, yeah, that's how I live my life. I just go cheap, just do it. Just do it for 2 months. There's this book called The Millionaire Next Door. And it was a wonderful book I read years ago. And it basically stated that millionaires, modern millionaires, go under the radar. What you see online, like driving Ferraris and driving all these hot cars, and you got these babes next to you, that's not real. That's very fair few, and that's usually new money. I mean, new money, because the modern millionaire is not like super multi-millionaire. The modern millionaire is like 1, 2, 3, 4 million, under 5 million. And they live very secretly, as in modestly, because you're not going to stay anything with high spending. The other thing that you can do if you want more money and afford life is you can up the income. And that's very hard for people, but you can up your income with side hustles or side gigs. I don't know anything about online, so I don't know how profitable that is, or I don't even know how long it takes to get monetized. I've heard like 2-3 years. I don't know. I'm not, but what I do is property. So you can go on, and invest in yourself and invest in your own property. And I'm going to talk about property investment in another video if you're doing this as a side. And the only real reason I even want to talk about it is when you have a business. Yeah, when you have a business, you do think differently. So even though you may not make as much, maybe you do, maybe you make way more than the average person, and you can do this ASAP and really create some good wealth for yourself and stability. So yeah. So we're going to talk about real estate investing in another video, but I'm not going to talk about it now. But that would be another way to get income, which is either renting out your own place that you live in, getting someone else to go in there, or getting another property. The other thing that's kind of really important about how to live a certain life, how to afford this life, how to afford to live, really is, I guess, in summary, either you live in your means, you get this income, your income's 80,000, you live in your 80,000 means. After tax, it could be 50,000. All your expenses have to stay within the 50,000 or less. Or, you get more income, either two of you work. I'm not a real believer of everybody work. If I had it my way now, I would stay home with my child. I'm not a believer of everybody work, but you got to do what you got to do. I got to work. I'm the only one in my family that provides, and it's just me and my son. So my daughter lives with her father, and my I grew her up. She's of age now. She's 15. She lives with him. And my son, my older son, he's all grown up. He provides for himself. I just provide for me and my 4-year-old. So I've got to work. And but if I had it my way, I'd definitely stay home. If I met someone and they got a job, I'd stay home. Bye bakery. Yeah. So you got to make more, and you could do that with investing. But the spending less, it really is about look in your house. Look in your house. Look at your actual house. Even down to, like, if you buy property, smaller is always cheaper. Like just the 1,000 square and 300 square foot like I have now is about 17, 1800 or 1500 in property taxes. Maybe 1,000. No, it's 1,500. And then in the big house, it's just over 3,000. I mean, if you're not renting that out and you're living there, that's a lot of money. That's like 3,000 just for the government to say that you owe in property taxes. No other tax, just that tax. So yeah, it's like just go down in like how big your house is. Just that. Just the property taxes alone saves you $3,000. And when you're paying for that after your taxes, that's some crazy money. That's some crazy money just on that. Don't worry about electric. Don't worry about the phone bill. So just look at your house, the building itself. Is it small enough? Is our, whatever goes out of your wallet, look at it. Is the electric small enough? Do we need to move? Can we save where we are? I couldn't do things better enough to save on electric at the house. I couldn't put as much clothes outside. It's like when you have a baby, you have to have heating. You have to have a certain amount of cooling. So it's, I couldn't be too tight. It's just having, 2-story. If you don't have 2 separate systems, and then you have 2 separate bills, that's like crazy money. And if you just have the cooling system downstairs and you are looking for it to cool and heat upstairs, that does power so much more work. So I literally learned that I just got a window cooling system. So upstairs, I did not have the cooler on. When we were, the cooler and heater was downstairs during the a little bit of the morning, and then come 2, 3 o'clock, everything got turned off. And once we made our way upstairs for the nighttime living, then the cooler from the window was there. Otherwise, how the hell can you afford? And our bill went way down. My bills went way down because of it, but still, it's like expensive. So, be kind to yourself and take care of your bills. I would rather have more acreage, right? More land than a house, because house is just property taxes is based on how big your house is. So just cut that out, Then look at all your bills. Then look at what you eat. Then you look at your entertainment and how you eat. And just cut it all way down. There's some things like people, like my dad would say, why don't you just stop going to Disney? No. Some things you just don't want to let go of. I'll let go of cable. I'll let go of heating and electric. I'll let go of a lot of things. But Disney, I'm good. I'm going to go to Disney because it's my happy place and I love it. I don't sacrifice. I can afford it. So I'm going to. The rest of the other life, the rest of the other stuff is just me living. When I go out, I don't really go super expensive, except for when I go to Disney. But I don't. I keep away from these steakhouses and these, because before you know it, you're paying $300 just to look at them and smile and get your beef overcooked. It's like, what? I just don't do any of that stuff. I drink at home, and you're like, oh, what kind of living is that? I still drink. I still eat really good. I still eat steak. I just don't charge it 3, 4 times for someone else to serve it to me. I know how to cook it. I get a home cooked meal. I eat good. I eat the best pastries. I'm not lacking. I might not have a name. I think this is a Tommy Hilfiger I got from Macy's. I got it on sale. I didn't spend $80 on it that it cost. I think I got it for $30, $40. Love it. And if I, spill baking goods on it, then I spill baking goods on it. It's okay. It's okay. I didn't spend a lot on it. So, yeah, live way down. Live way down. Are people mooching off you? You're taking care of someone that you don't need to. Just way down. Way down. I like to pay my phone bills, my phone outright. So I don't have any bills, no bills. When I buy a car, I do go on credit initially, like a loan. And I know within like 3, 4 months, I'm going to put all my money in it and I'm going to own it. And that's it. I'm not, my intent isn't to go and go and go and go for years. No, I don't own anything for 3 years. I own it or I don't. Well, real estate's different, isn't it? But yeah, I don't like debt, because I know that when it's a loan, it's credit, the fees make it double. I remember a mail came into my mailbox and it was Volkswagen. They said, oh, your 2020, I don't know, 2024, Volkswagen, is a couple of years old. You can trade it in and you can get a new loan for 28,000. Well, that's how much it bloody cost. Why would I give it to you for free and get into the same debt? Why would I do that? That's just stupid. So I can upgrade. That's like dumb. Why wouldn't I sell it? If I wanted to upgrade, I would sell my car myself. Sell it myself and get like, $18,000, $20,000 for it. Why wouldn't I do that? Or, 17,000. And then I just got to come up with 10,000 so I can have my brand new car. Better than 30,000. Better than 35 after all said and done. Fees and blah, blah. You want this, you want this. You want us to save you if you fell in a ditch? Oh, that cost you 35,000. So yeah, everything matters, and you just have to live a very, just have standards for yourself. Do not really do not accept loans, credits, none of that. I lived without a credit card for the store for many years. Didn't have credit card. I was like balancing my money. And it's not just the home life. If you have a store, your home is at the store too. You got to cut it down, and you start off with space. You are paying your rent based on how big it is. So the least amount of job that can get your job done, great. Don't be fooled by, are people going to come in and sit? No. People come, they go. Bye-bye. People don't sit. Very rarely people sit. Seriously, nobody sits. Something's happened to the world. Unless you're at a dining where you're sitting eating dinner, people do not sit. They grab, they go. So all this space here is unused space. The back space, I have double the kitchen area of this. I don't need that space. I don't need that space to bake. I don't. Even classes, I can get the job done in half the store size. So I'm paying all this extra money. I'm paying $2,000 extra a month for the space I don't use. So say no. We don't have it. No. Look for a small space. If you're not owning the building, look for a small space. Don't accept anything higher than 1,100, 1,000. Seriously, for a little bakery. Anything higher, you're just money thrown down the sink, toilet. Money thrown down the toilet. Internet, you got to have the best. No, you don't. Get the cheapest that they offer or does the job. You got to have 2 lines. Why do you have 2 lines? Just get 1 line. And go on a plan for 1 year or 2 years. Go on a plan and cut your bill way down. And yeah, save. Because why are you giving them the money? All this extra money. It could go into your pocket. Could go into your son's pocket. He may want some nice shoes. He may, want a nice toy. All that money you could have. You look good for nobody. Nobody's looking at you. Nobody's looking at you but your kids. Can you buy me? Can we afford? Okay. So cut your spending. Live in your means. Live it in your means. And always make your means available to have fun. My place is Disney. Whatever your place is, have fun. Whatever. I couldn't afford Disney for a very long time. So I went to the Great Wolf Lodge. That was my fun. That was my fun. I would take my daughter and we would go once or twice a year, usually for her birthday. And that was our fun place. Once in winter and once for her birthday in summer. And now my son, my little man, even though he gets to go to Disney as well, we go to Great Wolf Lodge. It's our place. Love it. So definitely live in your means or up your spending. Some of these people, it's crazy. I had this lady, she was applying to be a tenant, and she made like well over 15,000 a month. What? Like crazy good money. More. She just showed me on one of her jobs. She was working 3 jobs. It's like, what? You make crazy good money. And she had terrible credit. She was going for a divorce. Terrible credit. And she had all this, she couldn't get her spending underway. Rightfully she was fighting for her kids, but I don't know. No, I asked my ex-husband when we were going for a divorce, can we not fight? Can we not take each other to the bank? Or me take him? I had no money. Can we just not do that? Can we not fight for our kids? Can we just not do that? Can we not? Who made the rules up? Why do we have to do that? Can we just not do that? Because that's another life event. It doesn't have to be crazy. Why does it have to be crazy? Why do people have to be broke before they can move on? Yeah. I know some situations, you just married to crazy, but I mean, you married him at some point. So, yeah, save, 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 cut on your spending, and, look at everything that's coming in. Can you increase that? That lady, she was working 3 jobs. And I don't know why, because she made such good money. She just had to like weigh down on her spending. And then I was walking through the house with her, and she's like, can I get this? Can you put this? I was like, okay. Like, this is a friggin' beautiful home. This at one point, which was way uglier, dumpier, smellier, uglier, undated, was my dream home even at that point. Just people are just brainwashed into like having these standards that they can't uphold. Don't do that. Don't do that. If I ever buy a car, if I didn't have the money, because I don't have a store, I'm going into old age or whatever, I would just get the cheapest thing that was the most reliable, and that's it. What is that? Toyota Corolla? I had that at one point. I remember the Australians asked me, and they kind of laughed at me. My friend from high school, he laughed at me. He's like, Toyota? Like, who says you got to have a certain car? I got me from point B, from point A, whatever. I was doing 10-hour drives all the way to Canberra from Melbourne, weekly, bi-weekly. So, that did the job. Anyway, hope this helps.